I've been in this pattern of like working all day, and then at night I play like games like Fortnite, mostly Fortnite, and just like not just doing the same thing over and over, and everything's going fine. Like work is going fine. I'm slowly getting like better at what I do, and everything's great actually. But you know, like playing Fortnite to me is kind of redundant, especially when you do it every night for like months. Like for months I was literally doing the exact same life. For every Thursday I go out with my buddies, and you know, Friday and Saturday and Sunday, like it's the same routine. It's like Saturday all I do is play Fortnite or, you know, clean up or whatever. Like it's just been the same routine over and over and over, and it's been happy. I mean, it's like, you know, in this, like when there's a happily ever after sort of story, and you're like, what does happily ever after really mean? It's like these people married each other, this prince and this, you know, princess or whatever, married each other, like, and they're living happily ever after. The end. It's like, okay, what does that actually mean? And I'm starting to like question, you know, am I living the happily ever after? I don't know. But anyway, I just feel like, in my mind, breaking up the redundancy of living the same every day happens when you do stuff like when you draw, or when you make music, or when you write, you know, something, when you write like a journal, or when you like read a new book. And this is cool. I haven't played this game in a while, so everything is new to me in this game. It's got this little boat. But like being creative, that to me is being creative is a way of escaping and living. Escaping being dead. Being dead is living happily ever after. It's like your story is over. You're dead. You're at the end of the fairy tale. You've gone through all the hardships, and now you're there just as a character living out a life as an NPC in your own life. And I feel like I've woken up from happily ever after. I've woken up after several months, and I've realized that I'm bored. Like, I'm not alive anymore. I need to, I mean, my channel is like the graveyard. My YouTube channel. I mean, not that my YouTube channel is like has anything to do with the rest of my life. It just feels like that's just part of it, like a tiny part of it. But, you know, I feel like I need to get back and start doing stuff again. Like start being creative again. And part of my creativity was also just these videos, just, you know, talking to you guys and figuring out what I was going to do and talk about. And like part of it was like, oh yeah, I think about something and I'm like, you know what, I should talk about that, you know, on Minecraft. I should talk about this, or like something cool happens and I'm like, wow, I should really, you know, I should write this down. And the things that I say I should write down, those are the things that I put in these videos. So like, I've just been thinking about that, and I just felt the urge to make another video. So that's where I'm at right now. And I think about things all the time, like, you know, like I used to think about things like this. Like in my head, I would think, I've got to do something with my life. I've got to like become something. I've got to become someone. What am I doing? Everything has to be for production, and everything has to, be leading to this next greater thing. And honestly, that's all like be a part, still to me feels like a part of being dead. If you're not like actively creating or building something with someone or a group of people, you're really dead. Like to me, being alive is, like being loved by your family, by people, by someone else, by, the people that you work with, your friends. Like receiving that love is being alive. And building stuff, being creative, that's being alive. When someone asks you like, what'd you do this weekend? And you say, oh, nothing. I just, cleaned the house. I just did chores. I went shopping, did my laundry. It's like, those are all things of being dead. Those are all signs of being dead. And I don't mean like physically dead, like metaphorically dead. Happily ever after dead. So like, how do you be alive? Like, of course you need to do all those things. You need to clean your house. You need to take a shower. You need, you need to do all that stuff. But to be alive is like, is to like build and be creative and express yourself and remind the universe that you're still there. And there's a lot of people like parents and stuff, they like live through their kids. They're so totally dead. I mean, they rarely have time for themselves. They're like, you hear about these parents and they're like, I haven't been on a date in years. Or like my husband, like we just have the same routine. They like every Saturday night they have their glass of wine and they have their one night to have sex or whatever, or be intimate or go on a date once a month or whatever. That's their happily ever after. It's a routine. They like every morning when you say goodbye to whoever you're saying goodbye. Me, I say goodbye to my dog. I'm like, hey buddy. And I'm like, I'm heading out. And he'll he doesn't know what I'm talking about, but that's more for me. But at the same time, that is me living my happily ever after. And instead, sometimes like I change things up, and that's still not being alive. But then like one Saturday, I was like, you know what? I'm going to build something for my dog. I built him like a little dog house for the house, like his own little den. And it was like a little dog teepee. And I built it for him so he could, I thought, it'd be cool to have it. One, for an Instagram post, and two, just because I thought it'd be funny. And like, I built it, and he like used it once, and then he never used it again. But it was so fun. It was like an arts and crafts, like project. I went out and bought all the supplies. I went and bought all this like leather and leather, and like went out and collected some like tree stumps, or not tree stumps, but like tree rods or whatever, like those really thin rods, and like started setting it up and did all the things that I thought would make it look cool. And then I made a little sign for him, and I like decorated it, and I painted. It was made out of like canvas, and some parts of it were leather. That's cool. They have cats now. But yeah, I went out and did all this stuff for him, and I thought it came out really great. There's an Enderman, a zombie. Let's see, how do these villagers deal with them? Little zombie kid. But that just felt, so I go into work and my friend is like, so what'd you do over the weekend? And I had this like, I like lit up. My whole face lit up. I was like, yeah, man, I built this little, house for my dog. And I described it, I showed her pictures, and I was like, yeah, it's so awesome. It's like just really, it was really fun to make. And then she was like, wow, that's really cool. And I was like, what'd you do? And she's like, oh, I just, me and my husband went out and like, went to this like, outdoor festival or something. I'm like, cool. She's like, yeah, I wasn't really into it. It's more his thing. Happily ever after. And I was just, like, I thought about that. I mean, it didn't occur to me in that moment. I didn't think about it in that moment, but I thought about it recently. Like, that was an example of when I felt like, there's this extra amount of energy in me that's like, I did this and it's really cool and I want to share it. And then like the happily ever after part of me starts taking over, my mind. And it's like, hey, why don't you sell these? Like the business part of me comes out and it's like, and I'm like, yeah, I should create a business out of these because I could really, make these and it'll be really cool. But then it like took away the innocence of that project. But I still ended up trying to do it. And I sort of gave up on it midway because it didn't feel anymore like I was making something for my dog. It felt like I was just repeating a pattern of something and it was like I was trying to take advantage of my moment of creativity. And it didn't feel as genuine. And I want to feel genuine. If I were to make a business, I want to feel genuine. I want to feel like it's giving me more life. But I know in the end it's going to be a happily ever after. I don't want it to be happily ever after. I want to build stuff. I want to have relationships with, business relationships and like help other people to really, become better people. That's sort of my business vision, is to build something that other people can use that makes them feel creative as well. And sort of, that's why I really like Minecraft, because it gives you a chance. It's like, it gives you a chance to be creative and it's not like Fortnite where it's all really competitive and you're playing by the rules and there's only specific things you can do. And, everything is sort of predetermined for you, especially with like RNG or like random number generator type games. Those games really, once you like get your cards dealt, now you've got to be clever with those cards. You've got to, like say you get, certain weapons, or you're stuck in some situation and there's, a whole team against you. You're the odds are really stacked against you. And more than likely, you're not going to die. They sort of already been determined. I mean, unless you have practiced a lot and you get in those situations and you can think quickly. But even then, it's still not creative. I mean, rarely it's creative. What's really creative, though, is you get into a game and you can start stacking stuff. And you can start building and playing with the environment and testing things out and, build things for yourself. Or you just be like me and you just use it as a venue to sort of chat. And that's that's my creative way of playing Minecraft. I mean, technically I could drop this little workshop thingy down and start building stuff and fighting these monsters, but I don't really care to. I'm more curious how these villagers fight these zombie guys. And, eventually I'll have to get food and stuff like that in the game, but not right now. So I thought about, what do I do that I really enjoy? And one thing that I really enjoy is painting, drawing, and probably my favorite thing is music. Making music, listening to music, like finding new bands, going out to concerts, and just doing anything I can to like be around music. And I know it's kind of cliche to think that, because it can be, but I really do think it's a part of me. Like I feel like there's some urge in me that wants to make music, and right now when I do it, I get so doubtful. It's kind of like you were at one point you were training for a triathlon, and you got to a certain point where you had all this energy to do it, and then over time you're like, wow, I really start questioning yourself, like, hey, can I really do this? Am I fooling myself? Is it like something that was just like a fluke? And that is the killer of creativity. And the other thing is like comparing yourselves to other people. It's like, well, like this person was doing this the same amount of time as I was, except they just kept going. And then you start comparing yourselves, and that is a monster killer of creativity, of being alive. And like, I just wonder, like what it is that really killed my creativity at one point. Like, I try to think about the point, and there's not really a point. It was just an evolution over time. And I've just realized this recently. I was playing with a buddy of mine, and like the same group of people I play with Fortnite every day, and I just sort of this just came over me, like, wow, I really don't, and I'm not enjoying, this whole situation. I really don't even really want to try, because it's like the same outcome over and over. And so like, I really wanted to make this video. I didn't do it, that exact moment when I had that sort of thought, because I got really tired. But now I'm sort of clear, like my mind's all clear, and I just felt like doing it. And maybe that's what it is like, I'm slowly getting back into wanting to do this, wanting to do music, and wanting to be alive again. The happily ever after, the book on like that sentence is closed now. No longer is it happily ever after. I'm starting the next chapter, the next book in the series. It's time to get to the next happily ever after. Or not. But honestly, the whole idea of like the happily ever after sort of thing is silly. Like believing that, that you're trying to get to a point where there's, you find all this happiness. The whole thing is a joke. Just the happily ever after is just an illusion. There is no happily ever after. There's only happening. Like there's only stuff going on. There's never a point where everything sort of ends. Everything just goes on, whether you're there or not, whether you're dead or not. Life just continues. Creativity just continues. So like, how much of the creativity are you going to want to embrace and enjoy while you're alive, while your body is physically alive? It's like, you want to live at least the majority of your life. You want to live and enjoy at least the majority of your life. You know? And for me, the way that I enjoy life is I build and be creative. I do things that just light me up, light my eyes up, light my mind up, make me think critically. It like takes over all of my efforts, and I become a lot happier with myself. For I get those brief glimpses that everything is all right again. Gives my brain no chance to start thinking about anxieties. Gives my mind something to totally consume. And then I'm back to building. I don't even realize time's passed. I just do things and enjoy life, and that to me is the most beautiful way of living. So it's all about just being creative and expressing yourself, reminding yourself that you're still alive. And that's, just something I've got to, not that I've got to do it, but I'm going to. And I know I've said it a lot in the past, like, I'm going to make more videos for you guys, but it's not just making videos. It's not like, for me, it's about doing everything without having an excuse. So, with that said, I hope you guys have a great night, great day, great morning. Whenever you guys see this, I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.